I say, well, hello, chaps and It's Game Chap and Bertie here.
Yes.
Yes, indeed, fellows. And I dare say we are now discussing RYU in Super Smash Bros. On Wii U and 3DS. So we are talking here, does this character suck? How does he stand in the tier list? Generally, is he any good? What are his strengths and weaknesses, etc. and so forth?
Most certainly, of course, RYU, new DLC there for Super Smash Bros. Wii U. But the thing is, how does he perform? How does he play on the stage?
Exactly. Now, of course, the first thing I have to say here is RYU brings to the table something we've never before seen in Super Smash Bros., which is, of course, a very technical character indeed, who actually makes use of mechanics that Smash Bros. Has never seen before. We've previously only seen these in Street Fighter, such as down, forward, special moves, etc.
Exactly, so they brought some of the moves, if you like, or the feel of the whole Street Fighter thing, RYU, into Super Smash Bros.
That's right, and of course we are seeing here a very interesting character, which the community is no doubt having a lot of fun with, but the question is, underneath all that flash and the shiny effects there, is he actually any good?
Right, exactly. So how did he stand up against the other characters, etc.? Now we're seeing some gameplay here,
yes,
and he seems to be getting on okay, perhaps a bit lumpy, a bit heavy maybe, I don't know. What do you say?
Well, I'd say yes indeed, his range of manoeuvrability is not all that special. His jumping is only average or a bit below average perhaps, I think. Falling speed quite fast, however he does hit very hard. He has some amazing combo setups and a particularly flashy finisher in the Shoryuken. Now of course if you can learn his special inputs for his moves, they also do extra power based on the original Street Fighter inputs, so something to consider there. One thing of note, if you're playing online with him, he's, shall we say, he's a little bit tricky to use in lag because some of his special move setups require precise button inputs, which are sometimes hard to perform in lag. However, not too bad. Now I think we have to ask the question here, where does he currently stand on the tier list, old chap?
Yes indeed, an interesting question. Now they've put him at number, believe it or not, number 9 at the moment.
Number 9. So
Really?
this is nothing
Number
official though, old chap. This is merely a fan sort of decided tier list, isn't it, old boy?
Well it is, yes indeed, but nevertheless it's the one that people look at, etc. so forth.
That's a very high placing, I have to say, number 9.
Well, it seems to be. I mean, is it because of his performance, or do we have some fan influence going on here that he should be marked up at number 9 out of 50 odd or more than 50 characters?
That's right, indeed. I think perhaps in terms of usage alone, he's the least popular of the 3 DLC characters. However, I think he's perhaps the character with the most undiscovered potential at this time.
Right, I was just going to say that. I mean, I'm looking at him playing there now, and this is actually us playing him.
Me, actually.
Well, yes, indeed. Well, yes, more accurately you, but nevertheless, we're playing along there with RYU, and he seems to me, he seems fairly powerful. And as you say, he could be a hidden character, a hidden, very good
gem,
character.
as it were.
Gem,
yes.
Whatever you like, yes.
I think so. Now, of course, what are some of his useful moves? Well, firstly, this character RYU possesses a very interesting down special move, which is, of course, where he charges up with his fist and unleashes a mighty blow. Now, during the charge-up process, under certain circumstances, he has super armor, which means you can't knock him back during that process. Now, if you fully charge this move, and it lands with an opponent who's either in mid-attack or just standing there, you will stun them for a good amount of time, allowing you to get in a very meaty hit, plus the damage dealt by the special move.
Right, okay, so he's got an advantage there that other characters perhaps don't have.
That's right, a very unique counter which has so far been catching a lot of people out off guard online, and people just aren't ready for this move at the moment, from what I can see. Now, of course, this brings me on to his next special move, which is the invincible Shoryuken, or his up B move. Now, that is a very, very powerful finishing move.
Most certainly, yes indeed. He's got a powerful finishing move there, and just before we discuss that, I'm seeing, of course, he also has ranged moves. I'm seeing, you know, as he's fighting there, I'm sort of thinking a little bit, the way he's got this boxing gloves on, I'm sort of thinking Little Mac, as it were, in some cases, but it seems that he's not only a powerful hitter, but he's got, of course, the ranged weapons in the ranged attacks that Little Mac doesn't have.
That's right, of course. He is, I'd say, not entirely the same as Little Mac. Little Mac has his own unique character, set of moves, rather, but of course, RYU, yes, indeed does have some similarities, although his air game is much better than Little Mac's. He doesn't hit quite as hard on the ground either. As you said, he does also have some ranged weaponry in the form of the iconic Hadouken Fireball. That is a very handy attack, I have to say, although in this particular game, you'll find it has a bit of a cooldown time. If you try to use it too many times in succession, he'll sort of go, ha! He won't be able to use the fireball until it's cooled down. If you use the classic Street Fighter input of down forward A or down forward B, you'll also find he uses a slightly more powerful Hadouken fireball, which is the one I like to use. You'll know if you've got it right because he sort of says Hadouken instead of Hadouken.
Oh, yes.
It's slightly different, little chap.
Yes, indeed.
That also applies to his other moves, Tatsumaki Senpukek, and of course the Shoryuken uppercut.
Aha. So yes, indeed. You were just saying about the uppercut then. I think just talking about that, and just so this is a very powerful move. You're saying?
Yes, indeed. The uppercut I have found with my own testing. If you use the Street Fighter input of forward, down, forward, A, you can take out a Mario at 82% with this move, and I'm talking a star KO here.
Ah, so that's a powerful move he's got there.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, indeed. So, and just seeing, watching some more gameplay there, I do see he does indeed seem to be a very powerful hitter.
Yes.
And he's rather fast as well. I see a lot of qualities in this character, actually.
Yes, he has many qualities. I would say that he does tend to take some punishment due to his weight. However, he can rack up damage shockingly fast if you use the right combos, and you do have to know what you're doing with him. Just another point as regards the Shoryuken uppercut there, his finisher. If you use the up B input, I found you need Mario to be at 102% to KO him at that with that move rather. So using the classic Street Fighter input is a lot more powerful and much more of a better idea, I think.
Right, so we're seeing some strengths there, quite a few actually. What about some weaknesses now? How does he recover, for example? What's his recovery like on the stage?
You've raised a very good point there. Indeed, his recovery is not all that special. In fact, you may have already seen a couple of flub recoveries during this video. His recovery is, shall we say, lacking in terms of the Shoryuken being very predictable. It often lands on the stage, leaving him wide open, and of course the horizontal range of the Shoryuken is absolutely disgraceful. You only want to use that when you are underneath the ledge, okay? He does also have the mid-air Tatsumaki Senpukek. That is a rather handy horizontal recovery move, but again it can be baited by the opponent, so watch out.
I see, so a bit of weakness there in terms of getting back on the stage,
yes.
Maybe not off.
His recovery, again, yes, not all that special.
Right, okay, now what about other weaknesses? What other weaknesses do we have there that could put him, put him in a little bit of trouble?
Disadvantage, I would certainly say one of his weaknesses at this time in the current patch is that his priority is not all that special, okay? Moves like his Tatsumaki Senpukek can actually be grabbed directly out of the move by characters like Samus, and also the Tatsumaki Senpukek is overridden by lots of other characters' moves. This also applies to some of his other moves, again, low priority, meaning you'll often get cancelled out or beaten by other characters' attacks.
Right, okay, now just for those listening who may not be pros in this area or just whatever, they're just starting out with him, the Tatsumaki Senpukek, whatever it is, sounds like a sneeze. What exactly is that?
No, that's a Japanese word, which of course means his spinning sort of tornado kick where he hurls himself at the opponent.
So he's going around and yes.
That's right. Again, the classic input of that which you can use is down back A or down back B. Right. That will of course give you a bit more power, and whichever version of the move you use, either side B or down back A, you'll find that the longer you hold the button, the further he travels with the move. That of course allows you to mind game your opponent by confusing them as to how far you're going to travel with the said move.
Right, okay, so we've got that.
Yes.
Any other weaknesses we can see perhaps RYU may have?
Well, I mean, I would normally say he had a weakness in terms of, being able to strike foes who are below him. In other words, after you've been launched. However, his down B special move is very, very handy for catching people below you off guard who are trying to perhaps jug you, etc. and so forth.
Aha, I see.
Because, of course, you can just unleash this mighty blow straight into their face as they're trying to punch you.
Right, okay, so, now shifting over then, what about the final smash?
The final smash, well of course the final smash doesn't see much competitive use, but he is quite interesting in that he does have two final smashes, being the Metsu Hadouken and I think Shin Shoryuken, which are two interesting and unique final smashes he has, although again, those things aren't really going to see much use in competitive play. Now one thing I have to say what I've noted here, is he does appear to have an interesting ability to come back from the dead, as it were. In other words, when he's on the ropes, he can make a rather interesting sort of a comeback at the last minute, thanks to his powerful Shoryuken, especially when paired with the down B move. Now something interesting here is you don't have to use the Shoryuken after the down B. It helps that you don't have to. You can actually run up to them and unleash that uppercut when they're least expecting it.
Aha, interesting. Right, okay. Now all the moves, the characters have their various moves. Ganondorf's got his move. Falcon's got, of course, the Falcon Punch.
Yes.
So what's his comparable one to say the Falcon Punch or Ganondorf's, his
Warlock Punch? Well, absolutely without question, it's the Shoryuken, old chap. That is a mighty and very powerful attack. It won't KO quite as early as those other ones, but it is extremely strong and very fast, so you have to be careful of that attack if you're fighting Ryu.
Okay, so your usability, I mean, it's not that easy to land a Falcon Punch.
No.
I mean, you can do it, but it's not that easy to land it.
That's
now,
right.
how easy is it to land old Ryu's?
Well, I mean, I've been landing Falcon Punches for many years, old chap. I do like Falcon Punch. I would say, for me, the Shoryuken, it's a bit easier, if you ask me. I think slightly easier to land Shoryuken than Falcon Punch. Falcon Punch does have its uses, of course, but the Shoryuken can be set up in a number of interesting and different ways, which Falcon Punch cannot. So I think it has its own unique advantage in that respect. Although, of course, you'll have to use it later on, up the damage scale, rather, to carry your foe.
Yes, indeed. So there we are. So he's got some rather good qualities in that area.
Yes.
So are we seeing, if we're seeing a balance here, as scales, just imagine them,
yes.
Is he tipping towards favourable rather than unfavourable? I think he is.
I think
Most
so,
certainly.
although the main snag with Ryu, if you ask me, the main issue that people will find with him is that he's rather hard to learn, rather hard to use, and difficult to master, because of course his overall fighting style is just so different from everyone else on the roster. He doesn't use B moves like anybody else. He's got his own unique inputs, he has his own combo opportunities, he also has the weak down A attack, which can be chained into many other different combinations. One of my favourites, of course, being the down A, down A, down A, and then the Hadouken straight afterwards, which can catch foes off guard.
Most certainly, yes indeed. Now I see what you're saying, and but just watching him fight there, I think it could be indeed the case that we've got a character here that needs perhaps an extra bit of skill to use,
yes.
That could be very much a pro character in the hands of the right person, the right player, the skilled player that's practiced, could be a very dangerous character that could score highly on the list.
That's right, and very much we are seeing the early days of Ryu here. It's very hard to say just how good he will be. No doubt we'll have some Street Fighter pros coming over to use Ryu as well, just to see how he handles and what they can do with him, and I'm sure the community will make many interesting discoveries about this character in the near future. I understand some kind of bug has already been found with him pertaining to his down special move, which can apparently hit Donkey Kong over and over and over again without interruption. Basically an infinite attack, as it were.
Oh, that's rather interesting.
So he doesn't appear to have a lot of potential, and again, I do think this is a character that should not be written off at this stage. He may be hard to learn, hard to master, but he does pack quite a punch despite his weaknesses, and I think he has a lot of potential.
Right, so what we're saying here is don't underestimate this character at all. We should really keep an eye on tournaments, things like that, see how he gets on in the future. We think that this chap could perhaps rise up to be a very good character.
It would be nice, certainly, Roy. I would say, to answer the question, does he suck? I would say most certainly he does not suck, old chap. He has undiscovered potential, and currently his, shall we say, tentative placing of 9 on the tier list, I'm not entirely sure about that. Perhaps a bit too high, I'm not sure, but time will tell just where he stands on the roster. For goodness sakes, he could even turn out at number 1, old boy.
Well, he could do, yes indeed. Now, what do you listeners out there think? Do you play him at the moment, or are you thinking about playing him, or whatever? How do you think he plays?
Indeed, do you like him? Do you find him an irritating opponent online? What do you say, Fedils? I would say to you, this hasn't even Game Chat and Birdie then discussing the mighty karate man, Mr. Ryu in Super Smash Bros. Thank you most kindly for joining us. Let us know what you think, I say. And we look forward to seeing you once more the next exciting outing, my word. Until then...